Okay, good. Okay, it's 5:30. I'm calling to order the City Council Planning and Zoning Joint Workshop. We're at 511 Main Street at City Hall. From the P&Z side, Jared Wilcox, Patricia Moore, and Leah Cloud are present. On the council side, Jerry Russ, Darcy Hasty, Christine Morse, Rebecca Gibson, and myself are present. The city secretary is present. Tony Kuntz has not arrived. And our guest speaker, Lindsay Thorne, is here. That being said, we go to... Sorry guys, I still can't talk.
Would you like for me?
No, Claire.
Yes,
Yeah.
Item 2. A, presentation from Lindsay Thorne with Thorne Architects for a possible development project at 1007 Hackberry, the mansion.
Thank you. You've all been introduced. We had a brief meeting with him last week, I believe, Jill and I, and looking at this project and having seen some of the stuff on our workshop in Bastrop, this looks something that would really be a great thing for Bandera, so I'll let you take it from here.
Perfect, thank you. I'm not not new to Bandera. I was here back when Horst was in charge way back when, and that's the first time. So I've known Steve Ball for probably 20 years. I'm from Wales, he's from England, but he's from north of England, so we like each other. So we were working together on the original project, came up with the idea of the where the little pub area is, came and did some original sketch ideas for him on the interior, and we originally did a layout where almost where, I guess, west of the pool currently, we were looking at putting a spa. Let me come back over here. So I'm much better when I wave my fingers. It looks better. So right here we were looking at putting almost like a original concept to this was sort of a destination location if you came for bachelorette weekend or this type of thing. But a little tiny venue, creating this for rental for rooms, which Steve does currently. We were originally going to put almost like a spa area here, then we were looking at putting almost like a little meeting room space here so you could come for small business retreats and whatnot. When we came to present, everything was great. The horse came fine, came City Council, and it all sort of went. So Steve got a little upset. We did a lot of drawings and it all went flat in its face. So when Steve called me a few weeks ago and said, look, I think that after you reached out, and he said, I think Bandera's ready now to embrace something like this. I mean, Fredericksburg are doing it, Bernie's doing it, everybody's doing it. I'm a little different because I sort of grew up in a place very similar to South Wales, is very similar to South Texas. You know, we have a lot of farmers, miners, and military people, which is it's like a microcosm of San Antonio. And so I've become the county architect for a lot of the smaller counties around. I'm the architect for Atascosa County, Guadalupe County, Wilson County. So I deal with a lot of sort of the outer city folks around here like this. So I feel very comfortable when I'm in places like Bandera, which reminds me of home, except it's a lot muddier there. So along with that, seeing how life has evolved and how living has evolved, especially the past year, the original concept we had, for those who don't know, we looked originally at doing something almost like a U-shaped. When this was going on, that was going on. I don't know if people remember, there was like a U-shaped little hotel, two-story hotel thing we were going to do there. Is it easier? Can you see? Because I'm standing in your way.
Well, I was going to say, move the table forward. Sorry.
I'm going to stand. If I sit right here, you've seen it already.
If y'all want to even switch to this side of the table, you can, or...
Are you going to be using that throughout your presentation, or?
No, I'll move around the front. Just when you settle, I'll move the other place.
Okay. How's that? Good?
Much better, because all I can see is
My
like
shoulder,
your back.
like it,
I can do that.
Okay, so originally then spa, little meeting space, and then we were looking at putting a very small style hotel like you see up northeast Connecticut way, something like that, two-story rental. Again, we weren't ready for that here then. So then we thought, let's do another option of doing some connected townhomes along here, type of thing. Again, I think we had probably about 14 at the time. We do a lot of townhomes back where I grew up, and I'm unusual, so I'm not only an architect, but I'm also a contractor and a developer, so I build probably 95% of what I design. So we have that control with what we do, so we make sure that what we present is actually what you actually get. That fell flat in its face. So thinking about it and other projects we've been doing since, especially with COVID, people wanting to work more from home and going out of town more, I was thinking with Steve, and I said, you know what, for both economics of scale, for both purchase price as well, and we're thinking of maybe doing a series of duplexes here that are a lot like the drawings what I've had there. So the thought is create a series of duplexes right here. We would create a stone wall which is indicated here. We're not sure if this is here or here because we may end up needing parking in here. We haven't figured that out quite yet. I'm just running this by you guys because I've got to thank you for all taking the time to come and visit because we don't want to go through what we did last time. Steve spent a whole bunch of money, so I really wanted to see what everybody's opinion is to gauge what we do next. So I really appreciate you coming in today. So depending on where this wall may be, the thought process is if people are buying one of these here, some of them just live there full time, maybe a weekend holiday home type deal, but then they can all have access to use the pool. And the more we're thinking about it, well, some of them, a bunch of the mixed use projects we've done have that full blend on the site where you have maybe offices, live work. I live at the Pearl now. I became a hipster. I moved from the town and I moved downtown. So they have a bunch of these 2-story where they literally are, like we have in Europe, they have a little shop downstairs or a storefront where they do graphic design and they live above. So we thought, well, maybe we can integrate that a little bit into it too, especially the way the business is here on 11th Street, like there's a lawyer's office across the way here. That maybe doing an idea of having apartments with retail below, perhaps, or offices below, you know, accountant office, you know, PR company, whatever. So we were thinking of the thing is, well, that the site's sort of cattywampus because it's got this big field at the back that is begging for something to happen. It's sort of slightly off centre, as you can see. So actually, by doing this around the building, actually, really, I think focuses more on the mansion as it was. By the way, this is probably the fourth project I've done for this architect. Wilson County's courthouse is the same architect I fixed.
Wow.
So I've done a bunch of his work. So on that thought process, I think, well, what aesthetic will we go with? I wanted to do something that was very respectful for this historic structure. And so I kept thinking every time of thinking almost like the original Texas barns they used to have. That you'd have your main structure here. And a similar type of thing we have a lot of mews you have around Europe, where you had the main building, the main house, and you had all of the other houses around it where either people lived above, carriage houses were below. But that's what created all those really neat mews developments, just like you see up north and in Europe. So I started thinking about that, thinking, well, let's explore that a little bit more and do something more of a modern spin on what you would have as almost like a Texas barn that would be, and they have them all over. They got them in Austria. They got them all over. Similar type of deal. You have that masonry up the lower part that is either stuccoed, and then generally we'd have cedar batten and board up the top bit, including the roof. So I thought, well, let's explore that a little bit further because it's something that's very attractive. People like it. It's a softer approach. It won't compete with the building itself. So that the image I have in front of you is sort of an idea where I was actually going to do a little spin on it. I was going to create these. It's a 1x1, so you have a 1-car garage. Then I'll have one parking space that's actually covered, which is covered by actually a bedroom here. I've got one of these screen walls then, so you screen each other per unit, so it's not open all the way through. And you still have room there perhaps to put another car up front there, but it enables you, so it's not too dense on the side, but it's enough that gets you where you need to be in terms of vehicular storage. The idea on this is to have on the left side 2 bedrooms up above with a shared bathroom, and then on the ground floor behind the single car garage, utility room that have a master bathroom and bedroom, closet, bathroom, bedroom. On the right side, you see there these large windows. That's actually going to be a vaulted space that actually has a dining room up front. You've got a central hallway when you come in. Then you have a dining room up front, then a kitchen, then a living room. But what you actually have on the front to the back, you have really tall windows, and you have a vaulted ceiling. So that living area is really, really light. But it's a very simple design. You've got bedrooms on the one side, living room on the other, with a hallway in the middle.
What kind of square footage are you looking
I'm
at?
thinking around about 2,400 square feet at most. Not much more than that. You don't need more than that.
Each one?
Each one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's surprising.
Yeah, and so they're basically an L shape, but two of them back together, which gives you that U shape. And the thing I'm going to make it a little bit different to it, I was playing with the idea of going with the cedar, but really what I'm thinking I'd like to do to really make it, to put a contemporary spin on it, but clean, is do it all in standing seam. So you'd have a standing seam roof and you'd roll it down the sides. So it's very clean. They've done a bunch of them in New Zealand and a couple of my brother-in-law lives there over there, and they've done a bunch of these really neat old style barns, but they all do them in standing seam metal, and they're wonderful. They just sit there in the landscape, they look, you will pick a colour that's maybe like a dark bronze or something like that, or like a mid-grey that just disappears. And the contrast then to like a cream stucco below, it's really super. And then these windows I have there, they'll be popped out windows, and I'll probably have a window seat there, so that dining room will almost have a window seat area with a big window and then table and chairs on the other side and beyond. And then each of these little gardens, little private gardens, private yards at the back. But it's real simple, clean, and I think it would just fit really well into Bandera. The original one I did was more of a fussy Germanic style, which it's not really what people want today, and that was 15 years ago, so that's old hat. So this is something here now, people are embracing more the modern style, and I think maintenance-wise it's going to be great, and I think as well, it brings that residential towards the street, because I've set the main body back, but it brings the bedrooms and towards the street, which is what a residential project should do anyway. So each has real presence on the street, each of these units. So these would be basically,
Sure.
so we basically would actually do something more like, be more like this. And this actually be a little bit, this will probably be out here somewhere. This is probably going to get a little bit bigger. It'll probably be something more like that. I'll probably bring this forward.
Kind
Yeah.
of U shape.
That makes sense?
Yes.
So I'm decided yet whether, because I need to figure out, because that's a
If it's
sidewalk
right
through
in
there, I
the
need to figure out, maybe that's the hard standing, that's the cover, this is the garage, I gotta figure that out yet. But I just wanted to show the concept what I'm thinking about that I think would be really attractive here. And then, again, a blend of gravel, strip driveway, grey crushed granite, a grey crushed stone, green stepping stones, just something really neat and tidy and respectful.
Rebecca?
Thank you. I don't know if anybody mentioned to you in your previous meeting how well this jives with all the community dialogue and what's been going on with our master plan development. Certainly one of the biggest needs we have in Bandera is housing, residential housing.
Yeah.
So this checks that box. I personally love the design style. I love that they're duplexes, and I love the idea of the mixed use commercial residential.
That's great.
Fantastic.
Thank you. I did sorry.
Let me, one of the things we did discuss, it's currently in B2 zoning, which if we zone this a planned development, it would make the easement smaller, right now there's truly 10 feet between the buildings off the property line as they're supposed to be if they replat and all that good stuff. But with planned development, it would allow the shops over here, the housing over there, whatever the main building is going to be. It's just something to kick around.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great idea. We talked about this at the meeting. Yes, sir.
And sorry, go ahead. No, I did a project in Beeville back in, when did Eagleford kick off? 08? Eagleford was about 08, I think. I did a project down there where they had one of the big oil men down there, he had a 10-acre property down off Business. So it's the business road into Beeville. You go through Florenceville and continue on. So we did something similar. Large tract of land. Beeville's a very small city. We actually went in and developed the whole property, and we put 40 townhomes on there. Did 3 streets, and we designed them so that I wanted an exit strategy as well. We knew that the wildcatters would be there for a while, and then we get the white collar guys in for 2 or 3 years till they get everything stabilized. But we wanted to be able then to turn over, because Beeville has the same problem. There's not enough housing there, and so then we had it so that they actually looked like they were actually two-story flats. By design each one to look like individual houses, And so then we actually, as they moved out, then families moved in. And so it was a great development for the area. We're opposite the Coastal Bend College. And we did the whole thing there. We put all new sewer and mains and everything in that one. So that, and we also built a pub down there as well. But that was a really good. They embraced it the same way that you guys are. That they thought it's much needed for a certain town, and this is one. I think it's a great location for it.
And we also checked out the utilities. There's not going to be any problem getting, the utilities are already there. It's not
Yeah, they
like
look
big-
like they-
bigger
that's great.
utilities. Your
That's
4-inch
wonderful.
sewer line is
Yeah.
running down Hackberry Street, your water lines are running down.
That's wonderful.
So it's all set to go as far as that goes, and it does fit right in with the master plan, putting the, excuse me again, denser population closer to Main Street.
Yeah,
You know, and that's the only way we're gonna raise our tax base,
that's right.
is by population density. You know,
That's
it's an
exactly right.
option, it's for folks, they don't have to go that way, but I think it's a great idea. Jared?
So, I love the barn concept.
Mhm.
Might be a little too modern for my taste, for keeping with the cowboy theme, but I
Yeah.
love that concept.
Yeah.
Are these looking to be rentals or
They'll be for
Yeah.
purchase.
for purchase?
So what we're looking to do is we're doing a group 2 first, so we'll probably do, I don't know, maybe these first, or those first. But we're gonna build one and trip it out like I expected to see, and then we'll have one as a white box, so people can come and do what they want, and they can buy one either way.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, my biggest concern for the town is middle-class homes, middle-class income,
Right.
middle-class rentals.
right.
I couldn't hear that, I'm sorry.
Is that filling that middle-class void? When I moved to
Yeah.
town, there was no middle-class rentals. It was either a single wide trailer or it was a $4,000 a month mansion rental.
And this is
that
what this is
wasn't-
gonna be, this is aiming right in that window.
That was my.
Because there isn't any, as you say, and everything's all booked out here, you can't. So a mate of mine, my first friend, I actually saw him last week. His father was, he actually got a house, he's a lay preacher here that moved out. First time I ever came to Bandera, I came through back in '95. I didn't realise how far out it was. It wasn't, but it felt like it was. And Monty, this is the Lee family, that was long conversations we've had about that and seeing how Bandera has developed over the time, but it so needs this.
Okay.
You know, and like you say, the city's not gonna grow. And I explained, I don't want it to happen like happened to my town. I come from a very, very historic town back in Wales. And we had a city council that are just a bunch of idiots. And they literally just let the whole town die. They all went straight down the road to Cardiff, the capital. And I walked through there. I was at a rugby game about 3 years ago. I walked through the town city centre, a whole Victorian town city centre. Out of about 250 shops, there was 2 open.
Whoa.
And they're both pound stores, dollar stores. It was shocking to me. But that's what happened. I mean, unfortunately, you've got to grow with it. But what you do is doing exactly what you're doing now. You're actually controlling growth by doing the development plan. I sit in the Architecture Review Board for Alma Heights. So we see a lot of stuff come through my deal, and I help with the P&Z on them. So we've done a lot of master planning. I've spent a lot of years traveling around Europe, seeing how things are done in smaller towns to try and help, just educate myself as much as I can on how you can do urban infill that's appropriate. And we haven't got big city people coming in from Austin or California and trying to hose everything down and build it. It can be done properly, and it needs to be done properly. I think this is a good answer for that.
The owner of the property, I don't want to, I'm a big property rights person, but, my concern would be that, yes, we want to keep it so that middle class would be able to purchase the duplexes, move in, wonderful. But really, realistically, there would be nothing keeping from the rich guy from Houston or California coming in, or, the rich woman coming from California that likes to buy up everything, coming in and buying all of those from the owner and turning around and making them all day rentals.
That is true. I mean, I haven't actually experienced that, and I've been doing a lot of these. They may come and buy 1 or 2, maybe at most, but from even not only the Texas places, but even from a lot of the Colorado resorts I've been around. And I deal with a lot of very wealthy people on the daily with just my client base. For most of them, I don't ever see them using this as a source of income or as a source of an extra income. They've got bigger fish to fry. They've got stuff, they may buy one or two maybe, but if you look at places like Lake McQueenie around San Antonio or LBJ, most of those guys, they'll buy one, they won't buy, or he may buy a double here that he could have his family stay in. But I don't know if I've never known someone come in and, you know, like that property that much, they're going to buy everything. I mean, it's always a risk, I guess, but I've never experienced that, and I've been doing this a long time.
Is it I guess my question is that the current property owners, would they be motivated enough to make sure that maybe that doesn't happen?
Yeah, I can ask him on it for sure. I mean, Steve's been here a long time.
Right.
You know, he's been here quite a long time now, and you know, he lives in a very historic home in Chester, back in a place in Scotland. He's got one in Chester, then now he goes there for the summer. And so, if he didn't like and care about Bandera, he wouldn't still be here. So I think I'll talk to him about that, but it's not a worry I've never, it's never entered my thought because I've never known anybody do that.
Mayor,
Rebecca?
Dan wanted me to make sure that in this, because it's a workshop, that there's no direct action or
It's been,
things being told to do or not do.
Yeah.
Just- He said because of the way this is, everybody could kind of go around the room, give him his opinion, because he's here just kind of for a consensus. So he said since it's recorded and all that, he wanted me to make sure that's what we were doing since he's not here.
No action, Dan. Okay.
Rebecca, go ahead.
I don't have a concern with it.
Jerry, I have.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
I-
okay. I think she saw your hand up, so you're coming.
Okay.
So, just three things real quick. I wanted to point out that while the mayor mentioned the current zoning restrictions, our whole chapter 14 is about to be completely revamped. So I kind of don't even feel like referencing our current zoning ordinance right now because that's all about to change. And I was also curious about potential deed restrictions on the property because I think that could be valuable if Steve was open to that. And then I was also curious about the price point of each unit.
We're still going to develop that right now, but obviously we want to pitch it around. I think they're going to be, and I've heard conflicting information, but I think we're around the mid 500 mark, somewhere around about there, just because of lumber pricing is starting to come back down again now, but
And that's for 2 units.
no, for 1 unit.
1 unit?
That's not middle class.
I mean, two,
No.
1 duplex? Or 1 half duplex?
One house.
So I would definitely say that's priced out of our local economy,
Yeah.
you know, so that's a little bit tough.
So, but again, I've got to do all of that research on that yet.
Yeah.
I've got to price the whole thing out, and we're going to make it obviously as affordable as possibly can. The good thing is, because Steve owns the land, and that's usually a large portion to
Sure.
it. For me, I'm probably, because we want to do this together. I'll be probably forego most of my fees at the front, and so we can keep the price point lower. So ideally we'd like to be in the mid to high 4s. That's where we'd like to be, around the 440, 450 mark. Ideally, that's where we'd like to be. And I think once you got buy land and build, and if we can get it lower, we're going to make it. We're going to make it lower. It's just everything's just ridiculously priced right now in terms of materials.
And just to refer back to the zoning restrictions, they want to break ground in October if everybody agrees, and our zonings, that's all not coming about until November, December.
I see.
That's why I referenced that.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you can go.
Just for a little history, without a lot of detail, what was the resistance before? Unless you said that and I messed up.
I don't know, there was one. Well, there was one for sure, but I was just, I don't know, if maybe thought that it's just big. I just don't
It
think
was-
the
That it
time
wouldn't
was
fit
right.
in with Bandera,
I think so.
whatever.
Too many people coming here, you know, the place will be overrun. And it was only probably about 30 hot rooms in the hotel. It was barely enough to make the hotel viable. Usually you get that minimum when you do like a mini hotel. And then we had the higher density to it. I was worried about traffic and things like that. But to me, I mean, you get so much weekend traffic here anyway with the bikers and everything else. And I don't think an extra, 15 people is going to make much difference, or 30 people.
Jared?
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, Jerry, go ahead.
as far as talking to the owner about, trying to control the buyers, you just can't do that in reality. I mean, realty, there's laws on that. I'm sure you're well aware.
Yeah.
So even if he was to make a promise, you can't stop it or control it.
No, and to me, and that's the reason why I'm doing a duplex, is because to me, I'm going to build it like one big house. So it enables me cost-wise to keep things down low. I haven't got two separate slabs. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing it, is I've got one shared party wall, but it enables me then, when I have the bedrooms on the outside, I can have windows all around on two sides. This is just an atrium space here anyway, a big, large space. So to me, doing it this way, it enables me to keep the cost down. So I'm looking everywhere I can to keep the cost down. Another reason why the materials we're using, very simple form materials, using the roofing on the walls, but keeps that style. Just as simple as we can be. I do a lot of these townhomes in San Antonio. When we were building, to give you an idea, we did 14 attached with, because they're 3-story. They're all literally if the wall is here, 35 is that wall downtown, right next to 35. Great thing is on roof you can see right over 35. It's great, but. And we built those and we sold those for $385. So, and they were 3-story, and they had sprinklers in them as well. But they were smaller. They were 1,580, 1,600 square feet.
See, 15, 18 may seem small to you, but that's not small to a lot of families.
I live in 1,400 square feet.
Well, then you can very easily put a family in 1,400.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 22 is not necessarily
In 23.
shooting point. Jared?
So that rolls right into, I would much rather see something, when I say middle class for Bandera, not middle class for San Antonio. I don't know what that, to me, I'm
Yeah.
looking like 250 price point.
Yeah, the $250,000 price point.
Yeah.
The problem you have is you've got to increase the density to do that.
But I would rather see a smaller footprint,
Yeah.
square footage,
Yeah.
in order to have something that people can come into, because, that 400,000 or 500,000,
Yeah.
I don't,
It's a little scary.
We need
Yeah,
stuff for our
I mean-
young people.
we need stuff for our youth that stays here to keep
Right.
them here and keep them.
Well, that's what we've been doing downtown San Antonio, doing a lot of work down on the southwest side of town, down by Toyota, and putting units in that are more of the, between, because the sweet spot there is like 1,300 to 1,560. That's around about the sweet spot, because we're trying to attract the youth that have gone away, gone to New York, whatever, made money, but they want to come back home with the family. And so we're pitching that in, which is those townhomes there. We were down in the, they were in the mid 300s. So
Exactly.
and let me tell you, we're going to build these as economically as we can, because it makes sense for everybody.
The second thing that I would say is, we've got a bunch of workshops coming up with Simple City, the master planner. I would love to invite you and
Oh, yeah.
I know,
For sure.
last I heard, he was stuck in England.
Steve,
What's that?
Steve, he was here in May, wasn't he?
Was he? Either way. But I would
I don't know
love
where
to
he is
see,
now.
I would love to see people come to these
Is he
workshops.
British?
No, sorry, now we're talking about Steve Ball.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see y'all come to these workshops if you're available.
Oh, we'll come, sure.
And see what it is that we're actually trying to achieve with the city, because a lot of,
Oh, for sure.
We're
Yeah,
losing-
no problem.
well, a lot of what we're doing is our population median age is getting older.
Yep. You got to
All
get
of our
young people
youth
in.
is leaving, and our
Which is why,
population is declining.
that's another reason why these are more the modern, contemporary design, because you want to attract the youth to come back. That's not lost on these designs for that reason. They haven't got filigree and everything on them. They want something that's modern, clean, open, stuff that they'll come back and live here. Because all this younger generation, my son's one of them, he lives and works from home.
Without manufacturing or something else here, what jobs are those youth gonna have to afford that type of price
Absolutely.
point?
Retired,
What's that?
retirees.
We need.
Well, we need youth.
Oh,
Yeah.
not arguing, I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
But that's what, the
That's
thing about
advice.
these type of style is, this fits everybody. The key as a developer, I'll put my developer hat on now, you want to grab as much of the population as you can. Retirees, empty nesters, so I'm almost there, in between. To your young, you to bring the youth in. To those that are single, singles come in. You try and grab as many as you possibly can. And I've been preaching building, designing small for 25 years since I came here. And it was like, it was impossible to get anybody possibly think they could sleep in a bedroom less than 20 feet by 30 feet when I came to Texas. I'm like, no, you can sleep in rooms smaller than that. And so that Susan Susanka brought out the not so big house. And suddenly it's, oh, miracles, you can design something smaller. And so I preach where I live. I live in 1,400 square feet, 2 bedroom. And so for me, we downscaled and moved on, and you don't need any more than that, and we're good. So that I'm trying to capture that sweet spot in there. And some of these I may vary them up. So I may end up having maybe more like the 23, maybe having 1600s, maybe having 2100s, and have 3 different floor plan types that work that way. That has that higgledy-piggledy size and nature to it. That again breaks the community. I did a project years ago called co-housing in Europe, and what makes a community and a community, the vibrancy of a community is bringing that mix in. Having retirees, they may not have grandkids around. If they've got a young family moved in next door, it's fabulous. The young family, their parents live out of state. They meet, Phil and Sandra next door. Phil and Sam take care, look after the kids for them. It's that old community again that we've lost. And so doing developments like this brings that back into play.
I would agree with that if it was a 3-street community.
Or what community?
Like if this was like a multi-street, 3 streets pre-planned with 10 units. My own experience being a young single dad.
Yep.
Is more often than not, if I'm living right next door to the retired couple.
Yep.
They're pissed off about the amount of noise my kid makes. Or
Well,
like more often than not, I find that than the person that wants to babysit her all the time and knit her socks and things like that. When it comes down to 10 units, like I said, I could see that with a 100-unit pre-plan.
We're going to start somewhere, and you don't want 100 units here.
No, not at all.
Rebecca?
Yeah, I just wanted to let Jared know that I texted Steve at length back in, I don't know, late April or so. I sent him the links to the website that Simple City created for us, and some other information from the workshops. And I plan on I have Leslie's card, and I plan on trying to connect him and Matt Lewis next week.
I can see what the guy, you can send me what he's got. Is it Matt? Do you send
Matt
it?
Lewis,
Matt Lewis
with Simple City.
Where are they out of?
He's out of San Marcos.
Oh, okay, the local.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'll speak to him, and we'll chat back and forth, and
Very cool.
go from there. You're in that awkward line where you're one street off the old main street that used to be. That you could go 3-story on it, but then it starts to get eking a little bit towards the density, starts to get a little too much then. So it'd be interesting to see what he's got, his idea, what he had on the master plan, and what he saw as. I don't know if he has any idea of what each of the blocks would be.
Yeah.
Is he doing a similar type of master plan arrangement like Bastrop did, visually wise, with what goes on what block?
Not so much what goes in one block. What we saw were just potential developments, which were
Okay.
a mixed development,
Yeah.
and not specifically block by block by block,
Yeah.
because that was a
Kind of
very different plan.
Zones, like,
He's just rezoning it like it should be.
yeah, or like,
And lot
what did they-
sizing and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
what did they call their areas of concentration, like?
I knew you were gonna ask me that.
And they didn't let us keep any of the documents, because they're like, no, you'll see soon enough.
What did they call that?
I can't remember.
It's gonna be really great.
Do you mean a planned unit development?
And unit development.
No, it was,
You're talking like the
I mean,
urban,
I
the
feel like it
downtown.
was like target zones, or,
Yeah, I can see it.
Sorry.
I can't
but
think
anyway,
of
they have
it.
different,
can't.
they have different designations for different areas.
and the areas are made up of the natural environment, you know, the current,
Commercial.
current build,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Different
It's
elements.
kind of like we had with the previous master plan where we had the cabaret district, we had the river district, we had that never came to fruition,
Yeah.
so.
Keep hearing that.
So you're looking actually at having a total of 5 units.
This is
Five
what, well, this is what,
duplexes.
5 duplexes, yeah, 10 units. But then having more along this side through here, we may even be able to see what the gate right here, so I don't know what we meant, making this the gate, closing that up, maybe get another unit here, I don't know.
And that's 11th Street, correct?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and maybe I'll talk to Steve, I mean, he's got his cars and his MGs all parked over here, but that's a 2-unit apartment above here. Maybe we get rid of that, he puts the gate over here, and maybe we increase more through here perhaps.
Yeah, but the carriage house is such a cool building.
I know, that's the thing, I
You
probably
know.
wanna.
We make a
We
great.
talk about density, you
Make a
know,
great
I
restaurant.
think the development size we've got on the site, I think works well, because it really focuses this, centers this now. You've got it going here, and it doesn't sort of impinge too much on them, we don't wanna overdevelop that, I don't think.
How much space approximately do you have in between that duplex and the existing building?
Between here and here,
Uh-huh.
it's probably about 35 feet.
It's pretty massive.
Yeah.
So for me, what I probably end up doing is making this a little bit longer, and then maybe bring this wall back to give them all a little bit bigger backyards. I just need to get with them on it. We'll develop that as we go on, but it's really more I need to get a feel from both committees here. Is this something that it's worth us pursuing? I just don't want to go down that road again and it's like, oh no, we don't want that.
I love it.
I do too.
Now, the front of the duplexes,
Oh, that's
are
over.
they facing Pecan or?
Yeah, they'll be facing Pecan Street,
Right.
like a proper streetscape.
I think the price point has to come down to fit with Bandera. You know, I know you can't say this is what the price point's gonna be.
I have no idea yet. I
Sure.
got price all that. If I can make them 300,000, I'll make it 300,000. It's just I've got to go through that's all to do with density, all to do with, you know, what we can
Even
make
if
it.
we're looking at 300,000 for a duplex in Bandera, that's a massive
500.
price point. He just said it could be 300. Even 300 to 500, that's a massive amount of money for Bandera. I mean, even at my appraisal for my little bitty house on 1/3 of an acre up the street, you know, came back at 135,000, which we just got crazy appraisals on this year. Of course, everybody did.
The problem we got is it's all the add-ons we have in this country, between real estate fees, all this stuff that we have to do. I mean, and the cost of material right now. To give you some idea, I was pricing for another project at a 6x6 by 12 foot Doug fir post. I could bought that at the beginning of COVID for $24. The price today was $154.
Good gosh.
Well, all I can say, and I'll say this, and I'll be quiet, is that for me, and I hope this comes out the way I intend, I don't want somebody that's willing to pay $500,000 or even probably $300,000 for a duplex. They probably don't fit Bandera the way that it is right now. Probably. I don't know everybody that can fit $300,000 to $500,000, but for the most part, a $300,000 to $500,000 duplex, they probably don't fit Bandera's type of person.
Jerry.
So.
Do you feel that you could sell those homes at whatever, 3 to 500,000? Have you looked at the market?
Not really near yet.
Okay.
Well, I know roughly the market, but no.
And this isn't a negative.
No,
at all.
I know. I've got to, that's our next step. I mean, I've done nothing more than this and that right now because I didn't want to spend $60,000 on design fees like I did last time for the committee then to go, no, we changed our mind, we don't do that.
Here's where I'm heading on it. I've looked at a couple of homes here, and Christine, correct me please, I'd love you to join in. In the 3 to mid 300s, and yeah, they were, a couple of them are rebuilt from the ground up. But that's still an older existing home, you know? I'm thinking there could be people out there that are looking to spend a little bit more, because by the time you renovate or put money into some of these homes, if you're spending 300,000, put another 100 grand in it, I mean, you're already at 400, getting pretty close to the new price.
I'll give you an idea, right? You look at what was Crackville in San Antonio when I moved here 25 years ago. Down up by King William, Government Hill, Dignity Hill, things like that. I mean, you could have bought those 3 years ago. I could have bought a house on Dignity Hill 3 years ago for 50 grand, easy, like a 1,100 square foot wooden home there now. You cannot buy one there now less than $280,000 in 3 years. Now, on top of that, then you go to say you can't remodel a home for $100 a square foot. You're looking at $180, $200 a square foot materials pricing now. So you've got to put that, as you say, you're exactly right. You put that factor into it, what you can buy them for. I mean, I'm on about those places. I'm on about literally within. I'm doing a project there over by Walter Street Gate. They're a friend of mine that was pretty tied into the politics of the area. If you go right at Walter Street, and you've got those houses there, they've got people from California that own those homes. They've got people with mental disability. They come in at night and they lock them in their house. And they're paying rental on them. And they come out the next day and they get someone to open them up and they just wander the streets, meth addicts and things like that. Those properties are selling for 150 grand a pop. I mean, it's the way the world is right now. It's crazy.
Just one last thing. Can I direct a question?
Mm-hmm.
As a realtor, do you think you could sell those? Knowing the market
Right, yeah.
much better than I do.
Okay, and it will be,
take it into
it will
consideration.
be the people from out of town that don't work here, that are gonna buy their second home and use it as their weekend home. That's who can afford that. The people who live here can't afford that. And all these houses that are selling in town at the
There's a 600 square foot home
for
on
$315,000 is because
For how much?
305.
That's
305.
probably maybe one that I looked at.
Are they like 50s ranch style that haven't been touched in?
No,
This is a.
it needs to be renovated,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
it's income producing already. And so they bought it that they can keep their section and the other part of it is still income producing and they're not gonna live in it. And there goes our voting base because these people don't live here. I've got one right now on Hackberry, the log cabin. That's selling for $250 and it's 1,000 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And it's an insane price because I know where it was.
Our price point isn't off what people.
But the people who are buying it are weekenders from the coast. They're not gonna live here. And
we
then
need
there
people
goes
to
our
work here.
voting base again. All
And
these people that
volunteers.
are,
Something we
that
have no
can, that can
control over
afford,
in any way.
the people that can afford, they're the ones driving up the price because they can come in and throw cash at this
Yeah.
stuff that our community can't. And
Yeah.
so they're driving up these housing prices. And so they're the ones who can afford that. And again, we're right back to no affordable housing for anybody who works here because we don't have jobs that pay that kind of money for people to buy. These,
It's a
at
vicious
the
cycle.
300.
And that kills the city.
Well, and yeah, I mean, 50% of our population won't even live in the city. There'll be owners that live out of town. And then who spends their money here during the weekdays and who votes?
Well, part of what we were looking at doing was part of this development is, I spoke to Steve about this. If we have the business sector right here, which again has walk-ups to it, has apartments above, they're 1,000, 1,200 square foot apartments. We've also
That's
talked
very
about maybe making this into offices too. Because it's compartmentalized, it's got a central stair you can go up, you could have, we have them all over the world, you have 2 downstairs, 2 up, or 3 up and 2 down. So, what I'm saying in terms of bringing business in, there's still the ability to do that, I think, even on this site with this mixed,
I love
Mixed use
this.
to it.
Don't get me wrong, I love this and I think it's something we could do. I don't think 2,300 square feet is where first-time homebuyers are. In this community, we're much smaller as far as the house size. 1,000 to 1,300 square feet is really a livable first-time home buyer or family type square footage. I mean, even the houses in these subdivisions, 2,300 is a minimum bill
Well,
and
I'm
people
just
don't
throwing a
want-
number
yeah.
there that
So-
we explained before.
Right.
They could be 1,800, I don't know.
Right,
I've
so,
got a,
yeah,
this
but
is
I
just
love
literally
the
conceptual.
idea, it's just how do we make this work for our true middle-class families?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love it, I mean, I think it's a,
You know, for that matter, if we've got this entrance coming in here, I need to speak with fire, because fire technical importance. We'll exit right here. You know, we may be able to do that, we may be able to look at it that we could actually, if we lost the carriage building, which I get, it's a cute building, I get it, totally get it. But just because it's old doesn't mean it should be kept. Maybe we could get, I'm just saying, increase the density through here and here,
Some
on these
smaller
sides here, to
units.
create a little bit more of that diversity within the development. I like to do smaller units there, more like the shotgun ones you'd have, you know.
yeah.
Jared had his hand up first, Patricia.
Just
Oh,
real quick, just a thought for you, I mean, instead of ripping that carriage building down, build another small duplex that blends in with it like it's part of that, you know?
Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's what, and these are what these are going to feel. They're going to feel like those Muse developments anyway. And once they got carriage house doors to them, that they're going to feel that way anyway with apartments above. I put my phone in. Can you someone pull up calculator on their phone for me? A calculator.
Oh, calculator.
Yeah. If I give you a number.
Just go for it, Jerry.
Okay. 27 by 60. What is that?
60.
50?
420.
60.
Jared got
So
it.
these here,
Did you say
well, I've gotten here. These here are around about. These are drawn here without me expanding on here. Are around about. These will be around about 1,600 to 1,800 square feet. To give you some idea.
Okay.
Jared?
Okay. Does anybody remember what Simple City said the median household income for Bandera was?
No, I don't remember off the top of my head. That was Linda's presentation.
Yeah, roughly 40s, I thought.
Yes.
$40,000 to $45,000.
$40,000 to $45,000 a year. I make more than that. Bought my house last year. I was only pre-approved for $250,000.
Yeah.
I love this idea. I think it could be like a new vibrant city center.
I agree.
Type thing.
I couldn't agree more.
But I could only
He's gonna figure how to do it.
be in.
Right.
So we're going to think about what we're going to think about is
Yeah.
what I presented last time,
Yeah.
because that's exactly what I presented last time, and I had that same feedback then, and I got shut down when I came and did all the drawings.
I think that for me right now, the big part is that price point because, yeah, we gotta.
So I can increase the density, you can drop the price.
Patricia?
What would this square footage of the office / retail and apartment above be? Of that
You're probably going to
apartment?
have, 600 square feet, 700 square feet down below, or
And,
maybe 400 and 200 storage, and then you'd have about a 600 square foot apartment above.
that,
But I could double it up, I could have 1,200 square feet, 1,200 square feet, you can make it across two, you're not going to make it.
well, the only reason I'm asking that would technically take care of work and accommodation.
That's the reason I did.
And that would be achievable for a lesser price point for an individual.
Okay.
Jerry had his hand up, did you?
I was just gonna comment, if you look back to what you were talking as your concept on that, to own a business and to also own a home, all in one, I mean, that price point may not be so far out of reach.
Well, that's those units, not the
That doesn't
one in the back.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Say that again?
Well, his concept was that some of those people may buy that for the storefront and to also live above, just like the olden days.
Yeah, like the old corner store in Britain, you have a corner store below and you
That
live
makes it
above.
somewhat more reasonable
But how do
if you're also buying your business building.
That's your business.
Yeah,
plan.
So that would
Right.
get to a question for these ladies of, can you bundle that in a home loan here? A business space
Depends on
and
your-
house together,
Depends on your
you got
finance,
And
your
then-
financing source.
and then
Personal
where,
credit, oh, absolutely.
and well, like for the VA home loan, all I can finance is just my primary living space. I can't finance anything
Right.
that falls under business, anything. And almost 40% of our county is military. So, and
That's
then
not
if you're a
40%
business.
of our home buyers though.
Well, no, but,
Right.
and if you're a business owner and you're coming into a new space, you've already got to have an established, that business has to be established and as the income for you to prove, so you'd be moving it from somewhere, which is great to move an established business in, but if you're trying to
I
start it.
think we're
There's
really
a lot of people
getting
that-
into
We're getting
way
in the weeds
into-
a little
Yeah,
bit,
let's
yeah.
we're getting into the weeds, let's get back to the
Sorry.
project itself and not how we're gonna finance it. I'd love to have one. But, anybody with a question about the project
So
itself?
let's
not
talk,
the-
let's talk about that a little bit, let's just go a little bit deeper with this, because it's important. So if we're allowed to go with a greater density, enables me to bring the price point down, is that something that you'd be willing to look at?
Yep.
And what about a record, because I did that before.
It's being filmed
To
right
me-
now.
To me, it's not even so much the density, the footprint of the individual units about half the size to bring that cost.
Yeah, well, I said,
But for the cost benefit
these
to the
here are
developer,
like,
it
these
is.
here are like just under 1,800 square feet, where I've got these drawn here.
Mhm.
So I mean, they're not large units, I mean, they could be down to, I could easily change, again, half of these and make these 1,300 square feet. But I've got to be able to get the density in there to get more build to create that feel.
I think that's the point we're trying to make tonight, lower price point, even with the more density.
With the,
But she had her hand
Oh,
up first,
sorry.
I'm sorry. Darcy?
And what we've been talking about with Simple City, I think they've really hit it home, at least I think with those of us on council that have talked about it during Simple City and what I hear from the citizens during the Simple City presentations is that we understand that we need to find these spaces to put homes, duplexes, whatever. We've even talked about putting mother-in-law homes, you know, on even like a third of an acre, like what I have here in town. It brings in more voters, taxpayers, more volunteers, because God knows we need more volunteers doing stuff and helping. Jared and I know well. And it just fits into everything that we've been talking about. So the density issue, for me at least, I can only speak for myself, is not an issue. Do we want it to overtake that beautiful house and everything over there? No. But the density issue isn't a problem for me. So.
Jared?
with the 11th Street side,
Mhm.
the business and or the retail and residential,
Love that.
is that full retail residential looking to be sold? Is the landowner looking to keep control of maybe some of those business spaces below and just sell the top?
Haven't really talked about it much, we just playing with the idea too, we haven't looked at the financing on that end, but yeah, maybe they become rentals instead, you know? Then you don't have to worry about the whole financing situation.
And then at that point, I think that'd be easier obtainable for first time, but at that point, now what's the price per square foot on the business side? Not that you're gonna have those numbers, but
Yeah,
the last one that went up with Best Western,
right.
the price per square foot on that was beyond what most businesses other than a bar could obtain on that.
And that was built, what, 5 years ago?
No, well, it was just finished,
That one up the street there?
just finished,
Really? Don't put that.
yeah. So, you
I
gotta
was
look at
speaking with, I was
retail
speaking with
wise,
Hartman on
but
that project probably 12 years ago.
like when people find out what businesses on Main Street actually pay for rent.
Okay,
I'm
let's
going to
get
say-
back on this project and just work on this project, not what happened with Best
No,
Western.
no, I think that's a valid point though, is when he's going back to the landowner and saying, hey, this is what they need to see is where the price point is for this, what can actually bring people in. I think that's that feedback, cause I think I represent 40% being the veteran. I think I represent the younger crowd of people we're trying to get involved into the
Well, I
community.
think we've
and these are
resolved
the-
really the
these
lower
are-
price point. No,
These are the issues that I'm seeing.
well, that's the,
From-
we've established we want a lower price
Yes.
point, and
Yes.
so let's just move on from there. This is not a final, it's just a preliminary meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a consensus. He just needs a consensus of what you think about a project, so he can decide to move forward or not.
So it could
And
be
Dan was
this,
very
it
clear
could be
not
this
to
or
be
denser,
giving
is what I'm hearing.
directives or
And you
anything
would no
like that.
problems if I built more here and then added more here. That's why I need to get some direction. I got parameters I can work in there.
Well, it sounds to me like a lot of heads are going up and down
Yeah.
right now, so I think
Okay, good.
that's a good sign.
All right, that gives me direction, because we want to get moving on this as soon as we can for you guys too.
Jerry?
One thing, for me, I'd be curious to see the cost difference between what it would have been 6 months ago before all this stuff going on.
That really has
And
nothing
what-
to do with this, Jerry. We
Well,
can't change what happened
except-
6 months
Well,
ago.
give somebody a chance first, please,
already
because
know
you
what
don't
it
even know
is.
where I'm going, okay? Please. So, we very well will see if the construction prices stay up, we're gonna see an increase in the values of our current homes. That's what I'm getting at, okay?
Yeah.
So.
We're about, right now, to give you east side, west side, north side, I'm not saying downtown prices in San Antonio, it's comparable in terms of, in the marches around San Antonio, even there you're looking at about a 40% increase.
I know my son is in the middle of building a fairly large home in Houston right now, and it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's almost doubled,
Yeah.
and it was a showstopper. That's why I say, I think,
I'm just talking about materials pricing.
right,
On
right.
average, I would say value-wise, in San Antonio right now, in the marches, I'd say it's 2 1/4. It's over double for value.
Okay, so that's an indication if we want to keep these prices down, we need to get moving on this thing,
Right.
so.
Right.
That being said, any further closing comments?
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Discussion? Good luck. All in favor? All in favor?
Yes.
Raise your
yes,
hands.
ma'am.
Out of here. 6:47.